You know, the primary goal is to create a garden that reflects who the organisation is, how you work, where you've come from, and how you see yourselves moving forwards. For me, it was important to go back to the origins of the Rnli and to work out, you know, what was the context within which the organisation emerged? Who was responsible and why? What was the driving and motivating factor? It has its feet in the past, but is very forward-thinking and is very technologically advanced. Looking at things like how were the original boats made? You know, what materials were used? What craftsmanship was used? You know, it's all about water, so water has to be there, not necessarily in its physical form, but represented in some way, sort of fluidity of pattern.
Yeah, being out on a lifeboat can be very exciting, but we have a job to do. It is an enjoyable role, but it can be really difficult. I think the challenge makes it much more worthwhile as well, and we really do feel like we are giving something back to the community and providing a really good service, and we are very proud. One of our official values is selflessness. At the drop of the hat, you leave everything to go and help someone you've never met before, and that's where the selflessness comes into it. When talking to Chris about the garden that he's designed, I really feel the sense of diversity came across in what he's designed, because we all are different, we've got different skills that we bring, and for me, yeah, that's one of the real strengths of the Rnli, is that everybody is different and everyone's got their own strengths that we can bring to this.
What it should look like in a few weeks' time is something like that. So we have the oak pavilion at the back, shrouded by the trees and the vegetation, and this meandering, sinuous path inspired by the bow wave of the boat, and a bounty of blooms.
Yeah, I was emotional looking at the diagrams upstairs, and then it was brought to life by the painting that we were shown, which gave that more of a 3D feel. I really did feel like I was well represented as an individual, but also the organisation was well represented. I'll feel proud to stand there in that garden. I will also hopefully feel quite relaxed and have some time to reflect on me as an Rnli volunteer and what it actually means to me and what it means to us all.
The most important thing for us is remaining on schedule, and I'm pleased to say with the weather, which has actually it's really been super dry, which causes a problem with dust, but actually it means that we can hit our schedules. There's nothing worse than rain and the soil becoming sodden. Everything just takes twice as long. We're ahead, in fact, of where we need to be. So whilst there's a lot of work going on, as you can probably hear, we're still okay. So the principal activities today and the principal focus, as you can see behind, is the guys doing the picture paving. These are Purbeck stones, it's random tumbled stones. I think the inspiration comes from the strata of principally the Dorset coast, but of course it's around the UK, and it has that Rnli link. This Purbeck stone is about 100 million years old, 130 million years old, laid down in warm, placid seas, and it just seemed perfect as a narrative to align with the principles of the Rnli. And so laying it out, choosing every single piece, and as you can see, chipping it to make it fit perfectly. So we've got absolutely pin straight lines, as though nature has just compressed that stone into that absolutely brilliant strata line.
I think when you're planting at Chelsea, there's lots of different ways of doing it, and you'll see when you walk around the showground, you'll see lots of different approaches. I always think that, you know, as a horticulturalist, you should plant for real. And by that I mean you should plant as though the plant is going to be there permanently. At this point, after we've been judged, but before the press come, the garden still needs to look good, but it's a bit like letting your child loose in the world. And the more time goes on, the more you have to stand back. And you're there to catch if anything happens, but you have to just have that separation. And so if you understand how people emotionally connect with a garden, you can create the most transformative spaces. Framing views, the subtlety of looking through an arch, framing an urn between the fork in a pine tree. And that's really what this is about. You come in with one attitude there and maybe have a completely different impression and attitude and emotional position here. And it's that sense of excitement that you've seen something which is really special. And that's why gardens have the effect they have.